Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It's Danny. So, I want to talk to you quick about a couple articles here that I saw. And the first one is this 36-year-old guy who inherited 3.5 million bucks, and he says he's a guy who only makes about 85,000 a year, but he decided to take he's took the 3.5 and he bought some real estate with it. So he's got some rentals that he's investing in, and he's working on a couple projects. So, he asked, I guess he calls up Dave Ramsey because he's like the psychic psychopath from Tennessee, and he just tells you exactly what you should do with your life, right? So he says, "Well, you've got to get back to work," he told Jonathan, and it wasn't about needing the money, but a reason to get up every morning. You need a purpose. You need a thing that makes the world better because you're part of it, a thing to go to. You need a thing to go to. Yes, you need in other words, you need a corporate job. You need to, be back at work, right? Because if you're just a real estate investor, you don't actually work, right? Because it's just passive income. Sure, Dave. Sure. Well, let's talk about this a little bit more in the context of like what's really going on out in the American workforce, right? Down out at corporate, right? The place where if you work for Ramsey Solutions and you're a female and you decide to have a baby but you're not married, Dave Ramsey will fire your ass because that's not a Christian move by you, and he gets to control your personal life, and there is no work-life balance. But let's just say you have a normal job in like a normal corporation, right? And you get to go in there 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week. A lot of places you're a manager, you are expected to work 50 hours a week. That was my paintbrush. Sorry, guys. 50 hours a week minimum. They expect you to be there because, you're a salaried manager and you just got to, step up when you're needed, right? Because just working a normal 8-hour day and then maybe going to a side gig or like a job that pays you a little bit better. They also don't like if you job hop. Job hopping is also verboten in corporate. There's a lot of CEOs on LinkedIn, bitching about that right now, saying that they can't believe these people that how dare they move from one job to another for a 40% pay increase, right? Like, I did that during the crisis. I'm sure some of you guys did that during the crisis, right? We had to do what we had to do, right? Like our purchasing power was being completely destroyed by the central planners and the authoritarians in the federal government. They were printing off $15 trillion, and suddenly like a $300 a night hotel room turned into an $800 a night hotel room. The dinner with your girl that cost 200 was now 350 like within 2 months. Like you're looking at these increases and you're just like, what what the hell is going on out here, right? Like you can't afford to do anything suddenly. And so, I mean, now we have people that make six figs are going to the food bank because they can't afford groceries. Like, can you imagine this? This is supposed to be the richest country in the world, but our people are slowly slipping into poverty. 90% of the population is now basically living in poverty because of what's going on in Washington, D.C., at the U.S. Congress. What's going on with all of this monetization of our debt? All the spending. We're spending $1 trillion just on interest payments, in less than a year. I mean, it's just getting completely and totally insane out there. So, if you want to be an investor, you're going to hear from people like this guy, Dave Ramsey. They're going to say, well, you just need to have a purpose. You just need to get back to work. Like, I'm so sick of hearing these wealthy people tell working class folks that they just need to work more, because they're the ones that have benefited from all of this crony capitalism and all of this, lobbying and buying politicians, paying politicians, through campaign contributions. So your project moves forward and then mom and pop's real estate project goes nowhere, right? Because they don't have money to buy elected officials in the government, right? I mean, I've seen this in comment sections all across YouTube. Like, well, the reason your project didn't go anywhere, bro, is because you need to get involved politically. You're not a member of the community, unless you're out there paying off politicians, you don't deserve to be able to build what you want to build on your own private property. That's not how it works in this country. No. No, we don't have private property here. We have government property that we rent to you. In fact, I was seeing this other article in Florida. 73% home price growth since 2019 through last year, so over 5 years. And now median property taxes are north of 3,000. Like the property taxes in Florida are now more expensive than the property taxes in South Dakota and Virginia. Florida, you know, everybody says Florida's a great buy right now. Florida's, price correcting. Florida's, you got to get in right now, guys. You got to buy right now. I mean, I think there's a whole lot more downside risk if you're buying in Florida right now. The inventory continues to build. And I mean, this is why people are broke and they can't afford anything right now. This is why they're going to the food banks. This is because of the property taxes, because of the homeowner's insurance, because of all of the other holding costs, the water and sewer, the utilities, everything else. Own vacant property in Florida, we're paying our taxes, we pay fire assessments. I mean, there's no buildings on our land that could even burn down that would need to be put out by a fire truck. But yeah, we have to pay fire assessments. And I mean, look at what happened in California. I mean, you're paying all that tax to the government and there's no fire protection. So, I mean, are you going to rebuild your house on a street where there's no fire protection, where there's no water to put out a potential fire, when they have fires like on a rolling basis, because they don't plan for these things. They're worried about the delta smelt that might be going extinct out there. I mean, these governments are ruining our lives. So now we got people making six figs that have to go to the food bank to get their food because they can't afford their rent or their groceries. And like they talk about food insecurity. Like this is like it's some kind of emotional problem you have. Like it has nothing to do with the government spending. Like it has nothing to do with all of this crazy regulation that we have to put up with on a day-to-day basis. And like it's like it's something like you need to stop being so insecure, and just go out there and make more money. Like Dave Ramsey, like you just need to get back going, guys. You're not making enough money, it's something wrong with you, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with being a real estate investor, by the way. I look for houses every day. I'm trying to buy more real estate. To see all these people who can't afford groceries, and to see like we had like 200 people that had to go to a warming shelter in Panama City, over um, winter storm, snowstorm Enzo, and they don't have anywhere to go in a snowstorm, and they could have died out on the street. I mean, this is not like I'm sorry, this is not the greatest country in the world. This is not the richest country in the world. Like if we can't have our own people, you know, being able to afford a place to live, then we have a serious problem. And it's with government. It's not, oh, well, the Fed's going to cut the rates and then everything's going to be fine again. Or, oh, look, the stock market ripped. That means America is so strong. Like, no, that's like 1/10 of the country, that benefits from all of this. It's the people that hold assets. And most people aren't property owners. Most people hate landlords. Like I always say this, I am against high property taxes as a property owner, as an income property owner, as a landlord, as someone who provides housing services. However, the tenants hate landlords and they generally vote for more elected officials who raise their property taxes. So, in effect, the tenants are voting for higher property taxes, but the landlords are voting against them. But there's not enough landlords to be able to um, overwhelm the tenants who want to increase their own rents. Now, thankfully, in Florida, the rents are coming down somewhat, like rents are down up to 30% in some parts of Florida. So, it's a good time for tenants to look for a new rental, like a more affordable home, a home. um, maybe a house, maybe a single family home. But this is not a good sign for, our the state of our country in the real economy, the mom and pops. Just hearing these rich CEOs say, "Well, you just need to, put your head down and work. And you need to stay at a job even if the job doesn't pay you compensation that is in line with the value you provide to that company." Like, I don't want to hear it from these guys anymore. I'm tired of them, and they want people to think that, if you're not a worker, like if you don't just get back in there, take a job that's less than, like, you're willing to accept. And also think about it. If you're going to take a job where they're going to tax you so much that the net compensation from those activities that you spent 8, 10, 12 hours a day doing are not going to provide for you and your family, they're not going to provide enough so that you can have a roof over your head or so that you could be able to eat 3 meals a day, then that is not a job. Like, you are in effect a slave at that place. So, you guys should think about that when you hear people like this say things like that. Like, just put your head down. You need to have purpose. People all have their rules, but you have your own agency and you don't have to listen to their rules. You control your own life, and but this is a bad time in America, so we all really we have to be on our game, like, really hardcore right now. And we have to reject these narratives from these assholes in the media. I don't think it's a good sign for our future, and I think you guys should just keep on working on, your own value as, a human being. And I would offer that value as a product or as a service before I would seek purpose in a corporate job working for somebody else. But, it's sad to hear about this food bank situation and the fact that, 200 people in my city, had nowhere to go in a snowstorm and could have froze to death outside. So it's not a good sign for the future of the United States. So appreciate you watching me today. Didn't mean to, you know, put you in a down mood, but these we have to discuss these real issues, so we could try to confront them, you know, because it's only going to get worse if we just sit back and don't do anything about it. We have to fight back, through our own actions. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Please like and subscribe. I'm Danny Elliott.